My dear viewers, beginning today is the official Alliteration Gaming Patreon and channel members. Throughout my Patreon, we've got quite a few tiers you can check out in order to gain special perks and even commission videos that you'd like to see me upload onto the channel. Every tier includes a shout out on my supporter card at the beginning of all of my videos, along with the benefits of the tier itself. Following that, you can now also join the Alliteration Nation by becoming a channel member on the YouTube side of things. Pledging your subscription here as a member of the channel is going to grant you the same shout out on my supporter card as all the Patreon tiers do, as well as access to the members only channel on my Discord. You'll gain a member badge that will level up as you stay subscribed and access to my exclusive emotes when I stream on YouTube. If you're interested in checking out the Patreon, I'm going to have the link in the description and in the pinned comment down below, as well as the link to my Discord should you want to join that as well. And if you want to become a channel member, the big beautiful join button is front and center on my homepage right here. And if you do decide to support the channel in any way whatsoever, know that I am unimaginably grateful, and I can't wait to provide you with even more top-notch content at my trademark top speed. Additionally, it's time for the return of the referral code. If you're new here and you're just getting into the game, you've got to make an account on the Universe's gaming network. When you're signing up, you can use my exclusive referral code Alliteration to let Jasco know that I brought you on board, which directly supports me and my work. Having an account on the UGN site is going to allow you to sign up for tournaments, participate in events, locate stores that support the game near you, and much more. Playing in events and or mailing in pack wrappers is actually going to accrue loyalty points onto your account, which you'll then be able to redeem for exclusive promo cards in the mail for absolutely free. An account on here is an integral part of playing this game, so make sure you sign up and you use my code Alliteration to help me continue doing what I love. I would really appreciate the support. You guys absolutely killed it on the last one with all of the signups, and I am really excited to run it back with you all. Now, let's get on to the video. Good evening, my dear viewers, and welcome to another Alliteration Gaming video. My name's Levi, and it's Spotlight time once more. This is going to be another one brought to you by Lenoco over at the Patreon, so you should already know what's on the horizon. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Grape Rush's second form in this game, Minoru Mineta 2. Mineta 2. is a 5 hand-sized character with a hefty 31 health and the death, evil, and water symbols. He's got a pair of enhances that both make this purple boy very hard to take down. His first is going to let you force one of your rival's foundations into their card pool every single turn, and only when it's their turn do they get to replace one into their stage. This enhance is a massive pain for both new and old players alike. No matter how familiar you are at fighting against it, it makes you seriously think about poking into Mineta in the early game and risk losing one of your useful foundations for a face down one, and having to continue your turn afterwards with that +1 progressive difficulty. That is no easy feat in the early game, especially when you have so very few foundations to commit to pass all of your checks. On top of that, this enhance is going to immediately start messing with any combos that your rival's trying to perform with that foundation stuck in their pool. And of course, when Mineta attacks into you aggressively, you're not only going to go -1 in foundation count, but also with that card in your pool, his attacks essentially all have +1 speed. This enhance pulls a massive amount of weight in so many different ways, but it's only half of what our character does. Our bottom enhance is what really makes Mineta such a tank, because every single momentum that we pick up is going to let us bring a rival attack all the way down to 0 speed and give us a card in our hand. With a little bit of potential committing and having the right block zones aside, this means that every time we hit our rival, we're practically negating one of their future attacks. This also is not once per turn, nor is it during our rival's turn only, meaning that not only can we fire it off on every single attack to replenish our hand constantly, we can also 0 speed out our own attacks if we're just desperate to draw more cards. Being a 5 hand-sized character, Mineta is bound to have a ton of power put into his abilities, and as you can see, that is very evident on our character here. Once we start landing hits, you can barely call this guy a 5-hander anymore. There is nothing more annoying than staring at a Mineta with no cards in hand but a ton of momentum and debating if you can even afford to attack into him. This little guy packs so much defensive power and control options that it's really just unreal. With Mineta too, you can be able to keep your rival constantly down on resources, always struggling to play cards with that clogged pool, and render all of their attacks useless for every single one of our momentum charges. Mineta is a powerhouse, no questions asked, but it is very important that we've got the right cards in our deck to keep him alive and to keep his abilities flowing. So let's talk attacks. The most obvious word of the day here is throws. Being a character that gets an insane amount of value out of momentum, attacks that guarantee it are just unmatched for value inside of our deck. Throws are always going to get that half damage through, meaning we can toss them out and be able to rely on the resource they give us to help protect us through the next turn. Grape Rush is obviously the cream of the crop here. Although we have to work a bit to turn it on, an 8 damage stun 1 throw that draws a card is kind of insane. On top of that, all of Mineta's symbols offer a flurry of versatile throws through things like grasping tape tosses, committal, and deadlock pressure, and invincible class being able to cancel any interaction with our moves. And if you're craving more out of your moves, well, don't worry, our game has plenty of options for attacks that guarantee momentum without just being throws. Half Hot Ignition and Tape Swing give us a couple cards that act like throws on the water symbol. Meanwhile, Death and Evil both have a slew of attacks that snap momentum through things like Blue Flame Palm's Top 3 Search or Sticky Ball Pitch's own Enhance. If you want to pursue a full Fury lineup, you can even use Howitzer Impact Cyclone for a ton of free momentum and a ton of draw power. Now, all that chip damage sounds pretty good, but we do have to finish games, right? Mineta generally plays a much longer game than a lot of other characters, but that does not mean you shouldn't include some really threatening things inside of your deck. Your rival needs to know that they cannot disrespect your aggressive potential just as much as your defensive potential, and you can do that through some very scary moves. If you're looking for raw damage, look no further than things like Hulking Grimace's 10 damage or the crazy scaling damage of Tongue Whip. On top of that, if you're in a pinch, you can convert momentum into damage through things like Cheerful Uppercut and Ice Storm, as well as get a lot of double duty defensive potential from their responses like Breaker or more card pool stuffing. Speaking of card pool stuffing, don't be afraid to do more of it. You can keep the pool filled up non-stop through things like Amphibious Ambush and Tape Stream Jab. The more difficult you can make it for your rival to play cards, the further you enact your control and resource denial game plan that Mineta thrives off of. It also opens the door to reap even more benefits from it with things like Sticky Ball Whale, which, in addition to things like Low Blow and Naval Laser, can all provide even more breaker defensive tricks on top of all the breaker we've already seen in our attacks thus far. Speaking of defensive tricks, those are going to carry over just as much into our foundations. Mineta has access to so many premium ways to make attacking into him even worse than it already is with its own enhanced abilities. Mineta is one of the best characters in the game to utilize a card like Spooky. Being able to reduce their speed all the way to 0 and then swap it for 0 damage is a massive play and one of the best things that he can do on the death symbol. Past that is where water really starts to shine though. Remember how we said having the wrong block zone is one of the only ways Mineta can take damage through his bottom enhance? Well, that's where the flurry of zone manipulation cards like Wall Cling and Tape can all come in to pull some massive weight. Now, to move away from Mineta's premier symbol of water, we can also find some really nice pieces of both momentum generation and control. Cards like Self-Propulsion and Helping Tomura that trade themselves for momentum are normally pretty strong break-evens, but in Mineta, 1 momentum is way more than just a solid 1 card, so these cards are extra valuable. Additionally, things like Irrefutable and Apathetic are going to bring some much desired control options when it comes to our rival's board. Cards like these are especially effective for dealing with any throw hate on their stage that can put a stop to us generating our momentum. And lastly, yes guys, we're still Mineta, so odds are if a card says put a card into your rival's card pool, it's probably a pretty worthy include inside of your deck. Sticky Balls and Playa Body are some of the most efficient options, but even more situational ones like Drowning or So Manly can find some places to shine. Whether you're putting them in defensively to slow down your rival's attack chains or hinder their builds, or if you're putting them aggressively to make sure all of your attacks are that much harder to block, you can really never have too much card pool stuffing. Your rival will already be pulling their hair out, having to deal with playing the game with one card there every turn thanks to Mineta, so every extra one that you can shove in is going to make their game experience that much more madness inducing and put you one pop off step closer to victory. Now when it comes to assets, Mineta has some incredibly amazing options across his whole symbol spread. On the water symbol, you're going to be hard pressed to pick between the constant speed pump and the free breaker 2 on Coda as long as you can protect him, or the very powerful Sports Festival Stadium adding some automatic free damage to all of your throw attacks, as well as protecting you from some powerful defensive abilities like Breaker and Faith Shield's response shutting down your throws. Meanwhile, Death and Evil almost have to play Battle Arena due to how insanely powerful stealing free momentum is in our character, but I also want to highlight the new League of Villains asset for having some very, very potent control elements that a long game character like Mineta extremely craves. We've got some strong contenders when it comes to action cards too. You know the drill, guys. If we've got showdown symbols and we care about surviving past turn 2, we play showdown. Coincidentally, we've got 2 of those symbols. If shoving a card into their pool was not enough, try continuing your turn after your best 2 pieces of your stage are also committed down. Combined with that +3 high block that we don't have to worry about when their move is 0 speed, this is an auto include to just hard shut down attack turns and make building after very, very difficult. Additionally, cards like Evil Gaze and All Out Battle can bring some really nice speed pump and control options to deal with potent throw hate or just anything on their board hindering our game plan. That's going to conclude our showcase today on Minoru Mineta 2. Thanks again to Lenoco for commissioning this video, and if you enjoyed it or even learned anything from it, I would appreciate some feedback down below. And if you want some more quality content like this, hit the like button to support me and the subscribe button to see more and more of my videos. And if that doesn't quite do it for you, you can also hit the join button down there to become a channel member and support the channel and get access to things like emotes and badges when I stream on YouTube. And of course, if you want to commission your very own character spotlight like this, or just want to commission some other type of content from me, you can check out my Patreon as well to see all of the ways that you can have impact on my videos and forever cement yourself as a part of the channel. I'm going to have the links to everything in the pinned comment and the description below as always. Thank you so much just for making it to the end of this video. That's all the time I've got for today, but I hope I can see you in tomorrow's upload.